everyone, welcome back to David at Go To Hobbies. I wanted to comment about the Ukrainian-Russian war. Now, as a war gamer of air, land and sea campaigns and do a lot of strategy planning and do a lot of thinking about war games and stuff like that and how things progress. Excuse me for a minute. And when you see what's going on in the war in between Ukraine and Russia, well, first of all, how it all started was obviously blatant lies by Russia, and you could see something was going to kick off. You don't position all your units around a country for no reason whatsoever. What was going to happen was inevitable. But the mainstream media tell you a lot of BS. Don't believe a word they say, because always 2 or 3 days out of date. So how can we get true factual information? There's a YouTube channel out there called The Enforcer, and he is the best. I watch him on a regular basis, and I'm not going to try and replace him or come up to his standard whatsoever. But as an observer of the war, I would like to make some comments. And the comments I am going to make is that what we see happening in Russia is the breakdown of it. It's just continuing to get worse and worse and worse. And I see it starting slowly and gradually as the momentum picks up. I think, from what I'm seeing, that eventually Putin will be assassinated. I can see that happening. And who will do it? The Russians. Because what he's done for his country is destroyed it. But the Russian mindset is that it is totally different to the West. And you think to yourself, if they had the right mindset, they'd be an absolutely fantastic country. We wouldn't have these incursions into airspaces. They wouldn't have the madness and mayhem that the Russians have caused and the stupidity of their armed forces. To say the least, incompetence is an understatement of the Russians, is significantly higher than that. So, do I class them as stupid? Yes, I do. Especially Putin. He is an absolute moron of a person, because hasn't had the hindsight or the wisdom, but he's gone on his morals, and his morals have been wrong. And he's finding that time and time again, what his plans want to be don't turn out to be fruition. And good. And I hope he has a very, very painful death, because he's destroying the Russian people's country. Him alone and his cronies, the oligarchs. Why? Why in this modern age we can't live in peace and get along with each other and have a better way of life? But no. It's not what's the word I'm looking for? You can't see these things happening. You can. Yes, I dare say he's a pretty intelligent person, but he hasn't used his intelligence wisely. And you think to yourself, it's the Russians' way of trying to win a war. It is so antiquated and out of date, and you think to yourself, you know you're not going to win. You know you can never ever achieve your goals. So is it a way of mass population extermination? I don't know. But there's no logic to what Putin's done or doing or will continue to do. The man is irrational and a loose cannon. Now, what's worse? Not much. But on the other side of the coin, you've got China. Excuse the noise outside. Shh, bear with me. Dog's going to kick off again. Sorry about that. Doggy's decided to have a little barking session, so I thought I better just stop it before it gets out of hand. It's just a case of going and seeing them, seeing what they want, and dealing with it. They've got water, they've had the foods, they've been out for a wee, and oh, excuse me, and everything's all right now. Right, going back to what I was saying, and I forgot where I left off. But if you look at it as, how do I put it? After this war, the Russian culture, the Russian people will be a lot happier if they didn't have the oligarchs and Putin in charge. Why? Because they have kept that country back from being great. There's so much greed and corruption in it. You wonder why it hasn't been dealt with. But this is what happens when you have people in power that are corrupt. And you've got other countries like North Korea. And they've obviously signed a pact with Russia. And then you have China. And then you have Iran. But I'll make videos on China and Iran and Israel in another time. But I think concentrating on how Russia will actually end up being, I think Russia will turn on itself and eventually replace Putin, and hopefully they'll have a democratic government, better than what they've got at the moment, because their system is corrupt. I don't know if the Russians will come round to being a sensible nation, but as it is at the moment, it's the old generation in Russia that have made matters worse for themselves by having the belief and the mindset and the propaganda from the government, where he is great, he is our leader, he will do what he has to do. Nah, I just feel that they're being lied to and misled and fed false information. What do you think? Do you think the Russians are going to implode on themselves? Do you think there'll be a third world war? I don't know. I hope there's not a third world war, but everything's leading up to it, isn't it? And it's getting very close to that point. You've got Israel against Hamas and Hezbollah, and now the Iranians, which eventually it was going to turn out to be. And then you've got the Chinese tentacles in everything, and you think to yourself, sorry, just checking on the doggies, and you think to yourself, what part are they playing in all this? And you got the Taiwan incidents carrying on with what China's doing and how it's trying to coerce Taiwan to become part of China. And you think to yourself, It won't happen there because there's too much at stake. And I'm not going to tell you everything I know, because obviously a lot of it's common sense, what they'll be doing and how they'll counteract it. But because I'm not going to give any game away to the Chinese, because they are very, very cunning and a formidable foe, but they are nowhere near the technology capabilities of the Americans and the British. What we make up in less, we make up in quality, and the difference, this is a classic example of what happens in Russia. You've got thousands and thousands and thousands of tanks, thousands and thousands and thousands of soldiers. Look what's happened to them. You might have a conscript army, but you can't beat. Let's give you a scenario, right? So the Ukrainians are killing, say, every let's be realistic, 30 Russian soldiers to one Ukrainian soldier. So it's the 30 to 1 odds. So if you've got, 10,000 Ukrainian troops, they will kill 30,000 Russians. But if you've got 300,000 troops killed, you're going to have 100,000 Ukrainian troops killed. It might be a 5 to 1 odds, I don't know. But whatever happens, war is a terrible thing. People get killed, and the civilian population, what Russia has done to civilians is unthinkable. Russian mindset is one of the worst in the world, and they are not just the only ones. There's other countries that do this, but I'm telling you now, Russia will have its day, and it will be absolutely terrible for them. They haven't seen nothing yet, because if it goes the way I'm thinking it's going to go, Russia will implode on itself. It won't be a nuclear war. It will come from inside Russia. That's how Russia will destroy itself. Because when they say enough's enough, you've seen nothing yet. Nothing at all. And it will be, the tipping block won't be far away from now. I can assure you now. Right, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's 13 minutes long, so we'll try and wrap it up. And I hope you found it interesting. I haven't gone into a great deal of detail, but I wanted to cover the whole picture as such. But there's going to be more videos on my thinking about Israel and Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas, those terror organisations. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. But we'll talk about that in another video. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And share your comments and let me know what you think. So ta-ra for now. Bye-bye.